2021 Mercedes G63 AMG, also called the G-Wagon. It is quite an impressive vehicle, and Mercedes sells a lot of this model. Today, I want to talk to you about not the car, but what makes this so special and why sales have increased, in some cases tripled, over the years. So let's take an example. 2006, Mercedes sold about 600 of these units across the US, about 40 in Canada. Last year, they sold almost 7,200 units. So why is that? In the US, if you're watching this from the US and you don't know this, there's a rule from the IRS that considers this a full expense for 1 year. I'm not a tax accountant, but I am an accountant, so I know the depreciation rules and how usually vehicles are counted in the books. So I understand that, but there is a rule in the US that says for vehicle over 6,000 pounds, and of course you need to talk to your accountant about this specifically because I don't understand the rules in the US, but because this falls under that group, a lot of rich people buy this model specifically because of that, and other big vehicles from Mercedes, the GLS, and pickup trucks because they're over 6,000 pounds. So vehicle must fall under that weight level in order to qualify for a tax deduction. So in most cases, you depreciate a product or an asset that you own in your business over a lifespan of its own product. So for example, 5 years, 6 years, whatever that is, depends on the asset itself. In this case, if you bought a G-Class, a G-Wagon in this case, you'd be able to actually expense the entire amount within a year. Now, there are some other rules that you need to follow, so I want you to get the right information from the right people. This is something I found out myself a few weeks ago, and I had to talk to someone to actually get the proper information instead of just Googling online. That's what you shouldn't do. You should look into proper accountants that understand the rules. But that's one of the reasons why this has become so popular. It's an amazing vehicle. It offers quite a lot. Now, the next reason is exporting. This is probably one of the most exported vehicles to outside of North America. And that's another reason why this thing has become so popular. A lot of people actually buy it from the dealership and sell it outside for a huge markup. In some cases, up to $70,000 from the original price. And this is about $200,000 vehicle, so it's quite expensive. Another reason that this vehicle is so popular is, of course, that some people turn them into armored vehicles. And in this case, this is what's going to happen to this specific model. For today, it's just straight from the dealership, ready to be taken apart by great friends at Exact Armor that is located in Ontario, Canada. They technically take this vehicle, take it apart, and make it bulletproof. They have their own system. And the goal for today's video is talk more about the actual G-Class, the history, and what this thing offers. And in the coming weeks, I'll be doing a full review of this exact same model that you see here today, fully armored. That is the goal, and we're going to compare it exactly what they have done to it, how the process starts, and of course, we're going to take it for a drive and see how it drove before and how it drives after it becomes a bulletproof vehicle. That's quite interesting because this vehicle, after it is fully armored, it actually gets heavier because all the materials they put through, from the doors, the panels as well, usually they gain about 1,600 pounds, 1,700, depends on the vehicle, because of all those parts that are added. And of course, they change the suspension system and more stuff. I'm going to go into detail in the next upcoming video of this specific model after it becomes a bulletproof G-Wagon. Another reason why people buy this specific SUV is because of what it offers under the hood. This has a 4-liter V8 bi-turbo engine. It makes 577 horsepower and makes 627 pound-feet of torque. It'll do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.5 seconds. That's crazy for a vehicle that weighs over 6,000 pounds. And it can tow over 3,500 kg. That's quite a lot for this vehicle. So that's another reason why people purchase this kind of machine. It's also an amazing off-road vehicle. I don't know if you're ever going to take this off-road, but if you wanted to, you can. You just got to get the right tire set up. In this case, it doesn't have, it's just street tires. But most important, as you can see, you have the dash bar in the front, It has protection underneath. It has recovery tow hooks in the front and in the back, and also a spare tire. So it kind of ticks all the boxes, especially if you're a rich person and you want to have some fun, but you also want to get some luxury while you're going off-road. This is probably the perfect vehicle. It also offers 3 differential locks. You have one in the front, center, and rear, so you never get stuck. Besides being an off-road vehicle, it's also a great machine for day-to-day use. I mean, look at the trunk space. You can actually fit a 6th person in here. That's how big the trunk space in this, because it's also very high off the ground, but there's so much space in this area. So I've thought about everything. It's also a convenient vehicle. For example, in the 2nd row, we have a climate unit, heated seats in the back, tons of space, beautiful leather interior. We have the speakers around here, has an amazing audio system, and most importantly, it's spacious inside. So it's very comfortable in the 2nd row. Now let's start it up, and of course it has a crazy exhaust system, quad exhaust, 2 on each side, 2 exhaust tips on each side. It is the signature design of the G-Wagon. We all know that. Most importantly, in the front here, you are welcomed by this massive luxury experience from the digital infotainment system, the cluster, which is all in one. So you're technically inside an S-Class, for example, but more aggressive and, of course, properly off-road. We have a beautiful grippy steering wheel, flat button, and most importantly, what I love about Mercedes cars is that you have control over the driving modes onto the steering wheel. That is one of the features that every single performance car should have. Why? Because you have easy access. If you want to quickly switch from Comfort to Sport Plus as you're entering the highway, or maybe you want to smoke a car on the road and have some fun, you have access right away. It has a beautiful infotainment display, massive screen, and most importantly, the camera person and I agree on this, it is not touch screen. That way it stays clean all the time. The digital cluster has a few layouts. In order for you to actually experience this car, you need to spend hours and days to understand, because there's so many features. And this video wouldn't be able to cover everything you need to know about this truck, because it's technically a truck. It has so much. In the center here, we have even an expensive clock, the IWC. That thing could be worth, in my opinion, a couple of $1,000 easily, maybe more. It also has an expensive audio system called Burmester. That alone could be over $5,000 as an option. This thing is fully loaded. And I love the experience that you get from the interior here. You feel a bit of a luxury, but yet a bit of a sportiness. It's quite an impressive vehicle, and that's probably why rich people like to buy this thing, because at the end of the day, you get everything in one. Let's put it in Sport Plus. See, a vehicle like this just makes you smile all the time, and it's not just because of the horsepower. It's also very comfortable. It's a decent vehicle for day-to-day. It feels high off the ground, but one thing I love about this compared, let's say, a pickup truck. In a pickup truck, you're always looking sort of straight. In this one, you're looking down, so you get better visibility of the front. And it sounds ridiculous. I mean, it's a G-Class, and that's what I love about this thing. And that's what rich people love about it. It is an impressive vehicle. It has the latest technology. It is fully luxurious inside. You got cooling seats on. I'm going to turn it on because right now it's just a bit hot, even though I have this jacket on, sort of like a jacket. And you're set. You can enjoy a beautiful drive in here, even in a warm or a cold day. It's fantastic. It's a vehicle for everything in every sense. To me, it makes absolute sense for someone to buy this, and especially because of that tax advantage that you get in the US. I couldn't find anything about Canada, so if anybody knows anything, let me know in the comment section below, because personally, I couldn't find anything related to the same type of deductions they get in the US. Again, you should definitely talk to a proper tax accountant. They'll tell you exactly. But that's something that I found interesting, which kind of explains why so many self-employed people or rich people buy big SUVs, because of that tax advantage. And if you can actually use it at least 50% for business use, in 1 year, you get a full deduction on that. So you're technically paying nothing on tax. And that's quite very impressive. Oh. The bolsters, because I'm going to corner, they hug you in to make sure you don't slide left and right. This thing is ridiculous. It's super ridiculous that you can actually drive a truck with so much horsepower and the size of this thing. I've also driven the 4x4 squared, and I didn't like that as much. It didn't feel as comfortable. It felt too high. This to me feels perfect, and this is why Mercedes has been very successful with this vehicle, because it fits everything. Oh, this thing is ridiculous. I love it. I love it. The bolsters are literally hugging me in, like, just love that. Let me do a launch control. Okay, Sport Plus. Okay, the camera's on. Let me do with traction off. Everything is off. Suspension is off. Okay, everything. We're having Sport Plus. Everything is Sport Plus. Exhausts are open up. Oh! Oh, you gotta love this thing. You gotta love this. It is comfortable. And here's the thing. If you don't like all that, let's put it in comfort mode. Everything is turned off. It becomes totally civilized. Just drive it normally. Comfort mode. The exhaust sound is gone. It's quiet inside. The suspension system now is soft, so it's kind of like a boat ride. It's comfortable. It's enjoyable. It becomes a proper day-to-day vehicle, and on top of that, you're saving a ton of fuel. Not that the rich people that are buying this care much about fuel. Maybe the cheap ones, the cheap-ass ones, maybe they will care about that. But if you're getting to this level to pay for this car, you probably don't care about that. What I'm very interested about this vehicle is when it becomes fully armored. I want to see how different it is, because now that I've driven it just the way it is, I want to know when it becomes heavy, how it drives, and how quiet it feels inside. Because one thing I noticed with their Tahoe, it's extremely quiet. Now you have a thicker glass, which should make the inside noise better, and that's probably what changes. I think the first thing I'm going to notice right away. But also because this actually becomes quite heavy when you put all that stuff together. I think on average it goes between 1,000 pounds to like 1,700 pounds added weight to the Bulletproof. I absolutely love this. That was it for today. Thanks for watching, guys. And special thanks goes to Exact Armor for allowing me to borrow this and show you what it's all about. They build bulletproof vehicles, and they have a lot of vehicles in their lineup, from Bentleys, Mercedes, even Cadillac, the new model, and so on. So I'm going to be doing a lot of video reviews on those cars armored, because I want to find out how they make them and what do they actually do to them, and of course more details, like for example the warranty. Does it get voided or anything like that? That's what we're going to find out in the next video. Most importantly, we're going to review this exact same model and talk about what they did to it and how does it protect you. That's what we're going to find out. With that in mind, thanks for watching. Cheers.